the subscribe button if you don't want me to come at night.
Imagine the excitement of moving into a grand old manor seeping with history and charm. A perfect place to start afresh, or so the Davis family thought. The day they arrived at Blackwood Manor, a sense of awe washed over them. It was a magnificent relic of a bygone era, standing tall amidst the whispering trees, as if guarding secrets only time knew. The Davis family, full of anticipation and dreams, stepped into their new home. The high ceilings, the rich textures of the antique furniture, the faded grandeur of the wallpaper. It all seemed like a dream come true. But as they began to settle in, a chilling realization dawned upon them. Something about the manor was unsettling. At first it was merely strange sounds, creaks and groans that echoed through the ancient house as if the manor itself was alive, breathing. The family dismissed it as the quirks of an old house, but then came the whispers, soft, almost inaudible murmurs that seemed to seep from the walls themselves, a spectral language lost in time. And the cold drafts, oh, the cold drafts. They would sweep through the house without warning, turning warm rooms into icy chambers. The family would huddle together, shivering, as an inexplicable chill descended upon them. And in those moments they would feel it, the presence. An unseen entity, a ghostly figure that seemed to be always watching, always waiting. The Davis family tried to ignore these signs, attributing them to their overactive imaginations, but deep down they knew something wasn't right. The grandeur of Blackwood Manor began to lose its charm, replaced by an eerie sense of dread. Each creak, each whisper, each cold draft was a reminder of the presence that lurked within their home, a presence that refused to let them be. Little did they know their dream home was about to turn into their worst nightmare. As days turned into weeks, the family started experiencing events that defied explanation. This was no ordinary settling into a new home, no mere adjustment to unfamiliar creaks and groans of an old manor. No, the Davis family was beginning to understand that something was terribly amiss in Blackwood Manor. Imagine, if you will, sitting down to a family meal, only to have the silverware start to rattle and shake of its own accord. Picture the chill that would run down your spine as your breath fogs up in your own living room, a sudden drop in temperature transforming a cozy family space into a frigid, inhospitable zone. And then there were the voices. Soft whispers at first, so faint they could be dismissed as the wind rustling through the leaves outside. But as the days passed, these whispers grew into discernible words, echoing through the hallways and empty rooms of the manor. Words that held no meaning for the Davis family, yet filled them with a dread they could not shake off. Perhaps most unsettling of all was the constant feeling of being watched, a spectral gaze that followed them through the house, an incessant scrutiny that left them feeling vulnerable and exposed. The children stopped playing in certain rooms, the dog refused to enter others, and sleep became a luxury as an unnerving unease took over their nights. Every corner held an unseen horror, every shadow a potential threat. The once grand and welcoming Blackwood Manor had morphed into a labyrinth of fear, its walls echoing with the sounds of their own terror. Yet these occurrences were not the culmination of their ordeal. No, these were mere harbingers of the terror that was yet to come. The eerie voices, the unexplained chills, the ceaseless sensation of being observed, these were just the opening act. The main event was yet to reveal itself. The unseen horrors were just the beginning of the Davis family's terrifying ordeal. The true nature of the haunting of Blackwood Manor was about to show its ghostly face. In their quest to uncover the truth, they stumbled upon the manor's dark secrets. The Davis family, having been tormented by inexplicable occurrences, began to dig into the past of Blackwood Manor, hoping to unearth answers to the chilling events that had been disturbing their peace. Blackwood Manor, as they discovered, was not just an ordinary house. Its history was a tapestry of tragic tales, woven together by the thread of one particular story that stood out amongst the rest. The story of a previous resident, a woman of great beauty and tragedy. Her name was Elizabeth Blackwood, the original mistress of the manor. Elizabeth had lived in the manor during the late 19th century. Her life was marked by a series of unfortunate events, culminating in her untimely demise. The mystery of her death was never solved, but the circumstances surrounding it suggested something more sinister than natural causes. The local townsfolk whispered of foul play, of love gone awry, and a soul unable to rest. The Davis family began to suspect that it was Elizabeth's spirit that was haunting the manor, refusing to let go and relentlessly seeking justice for her untimely end. The chilling occurrences began to make sense. The inexplicable cool drafts, the whispering voices in the night, the eerie feeling of being watched. It was as if Elizabeth herself was trying to communicate with them, to tell her tale of woe and despair. The more they delved into the past, the more they felt the weight of the manor's history pressing upon them. The house was not just a structure of bricks and mortar, it was a vessel carrying the echoes of its past, reverberating with the cries of its tormented souls. As they pieced together the puzzle, a chilling realization dawned upon them. They were not alone in the manor. The Davis family was sharing their home with Elizabeth, with her unresolved past, her pain, her anger, and her desire for justice. The Davis family realized they were not alone in the manor. They were sharing their home with a vengeful spirit. The ghostly presence was relentless. It was not just haunting the manor, it was tormenting the Davis family. The spectral entity had a vexing way of making its presence felt, and its methods were far from subtle. It would knock on walls, slam doors shut, and move objects around, turning the once serene manor into a house of chaos. The spirit seemed to have a particular liking for the dead of night, when the world was quiet and the family was trying to find solace in sleep. It would unleash a torrent of frightful sounds that echoed through the manor, shattering the silence and peace. But it was more than just a poltergeist playing tricks. It was a vengeful spirit, seemingly hell-bent on driving the family out. It would manifest in the form of chilling apparitions, each more terrifying than the last. The Davis family would often wake up to find a ghostly figure standing at the foot of their beds, staring at them with cold, lifeless eyes. The children would wake up screaming from nightmares, their dreams invaded by the specter. Its activities seemed to be fueled by an insatiable rage, an anger that was palpable in every room. The air in the manor was heavy with a sense of dread, a dread that was so intense it was almost suffocating. The once warm and welcoming manor now felt icy cold, its atmosphere thick with an unsettling stillness that seemed to whisper of untold horrors. The torment was unending, and the family, once cheerful and full of life, was now a shadow of their former selves. Their days were filled with fear, their nights plagued by terror. The spirit had turned the manor into a veritable haunted house, a place where laughter was replaced by screams and happiness was overshadowed by unspeakable fear. And as the days turned into weeks, the family's resolve began to wane. The ghostly presence had worn them down, had pushed them to the brink of despair. The Davis family was living a nightmare, trapped inside their own home, a place that was supposed to be a haven of safety and comfort. Fear gripped the family. They were prisoners in their own home, at the mercy of a ghostly tormentor. The Davis family's dream of a peaceful life in Blackwood Manor had turned into a chilling nightmare. The grandeur of the manor, with its imposing structure and stately rooms, had initially charmed them, but the walls that promised safety and comfort soon echoed with whispers of a past soaked in torment and vengeance. Their days were filled with inexplicable happenings. Doors would slam shut in the dead of night, the wind would howl through the corridors as if crying in pain, and the air was perpetually heavy with an unshakable dread. Their nights, however, were far worse. Every sunset brought with it an eerie stillness, a silence so profound that it seemed as though time itself was holding its breath, anticipating the horrors that the night would unleash. The relentless haunting of the manor was more than just a series of spine-chilling events. It was a ghostly presence that refused to let the Davis family live in peace. It lurked in every shadow, every corner, every creaking floorboard, and every gust of cold, biting wind. It was an unseen entity, a spectral tenant that had claimed Blackwood Manor long before the Davis family ever set foot inside. As the days turned into weeks, the family's initial fear turned into a desperate struggle for sanity and survival. Their dreams of a tranquil life in the manor had been shattered by the reality of their living nightmare. The smiles and laughter that once filled the manor were now replaced with hushed whispers and anxious glances. The children, once filled with curiosity and excitement about their new home, were now pale and withdrawn, their innocent laughter replaced with fearful silence. The parents, who had once looked at the manor as a symbol of their success, were now haunted by the spectral presence that had turned their dream home into a house of horrors. Blackwood Manor, a place that promised a fresh start, was now a house of horrors. The Haunting of Blackwood Manor, a chilling tale of a family tormented by a ghostly presence, is a stark reminder that not all that glitters is gold.
Hit the subscribe button if you don't want me to come at night.